Welcome. Just a little bit of an idea of what this talk is about. It's the 6 sort of principles of creative thinking, how you come up with an idea, how you get there, what you can do. It's a really easy process. There are a lot of processes out there, but they're a little bit complicated for me. I'll get to that in a minute, but I've put digital. It is predominantly digital, but you can use this for anything. So you can use it for branding, you can use it for coming up with a brochure, you can use it for anything really. But it's just a really nice, easy step process that you guys can adopt. There's me, look. Let me introduce myself. I'm Gregg, creative director at Yo-Yo and founder, fancy. But I wasn't the sharpest tool in the box at school. I was crap at English, I wasn't very good, I wasn't very good at maths, but I was sort of good at sport. I swim competitively now, so I carried on that, but my real passion and the thing that I actually was good at and I loved really was sort of design, graphic design really, but art and all that sort of stuff. It was kind of something that I actually was good at, which was a break from the academic stuff. But it was kind of an easy choice to sort of move into that when I went into a full-time career. I went to college at Hastings, but actually, like we were just talking about, I started to work full-time while I was at college. It was just off my own back. LinkedIn wasn't around then, so you guys have got a bigger advantage. But it was kind of just filling around the town that I was in, which is Tunbridge Wells, and just sort of looking at a few agencies around there and seeing if there was any opportunities. Got in there, and then just sort of learned the career or the trade on the job, if you like. And college actually became a bit of a side thing for me, because it was just not as there was a lot more I was learning through actually on the job. So Yo-Yo, I'm fortunate enough to work with about 20, there's 22 of us, agency in Tunbridge Wells. We've been going for 10 years now. We're a digital agency, so what does that mean? That kind of means that we work in websites, but we do stuff that's campaign led, so it can be advertising and that sort of stuff that goes, or even sort of just banner ads and that sort of stuff, but it's predominantly digital and website stuff that we focus on. At the core of what we do, we're creative. We like to push things, even though it's just websites, it's taking technologies to a next level. It's looking at what can we do to engage people, which is a sort of our second mantra, if you like. Making sure that we tell a story, that what we're doing and what we're presenting to people, they embrace, and it speaks in their language, if you know what I mean. I'll get to that in a bit, but it's just making sure that we understand them and we engage them and get them on the journey. And then the third thing we like to do is just build partnerships. It's actually almost like a marriage when you've got a client. You've got to understand them, you've got to take them out for a drink, which is pretty good, or a meal. It depends, you know, what rocks their boat. But it's kind of getting to grips with what they're about, what their problem is, what do they need to solve. And this whole sort of presentation, I suppose, helps you solve that problem that the person's come to you with a brief. I'm going to call them clients just for the purposes of this, but it could be for you guys, it could be someone that you know, so they come to you and said, I need a brochure. So you go, all right. So, but I'm going to use clients for the example of this. Some of our friends, so we work, it's a bit of a wide spread, so we don't specialise predominantly in any client, but we do a lot of charity stuff. So RSPCA is a charity, there it is. RNLI, Woodland Trust. We work quite a lot with charities, but that's sort of from one extreme we go to the other extreme, which is like JP Morgan, which is financial, and we work with universities. So University of Southampton, I'll talk about that later on. I keep saying that, but we will. And the Open University, we do a lot of promo games for them on their website. So if there's a course that someone's interested in, we create a game that then tells the story of the course and gets them engaged. This sort of brings to life a little bit of what we do.
The best piece piece of advice I have for someone trying to succeed in the film industry or any creative space is, if you're doing what everyone else is doing, you're doing it wrong.
One of the best to ever do it. One of the best to ever do it.
That's enough sales stuff about Yo-Yo. Going back to the actual talk, the good news is everyone is creative. Everyone has something to bring to the table. Everyone has an idea, and it's something that anyone can do. So you're in the right place, because it's not like a developer thing where you have to be pretty good at coding and all that sort of stuff. This is very much just ideas led. Principle number one, kind of get the gist of the one, principles. Who do you get involved? The first 5 principles are predominantly a day's worth of work. So that's kind of getting a certain amount of people into a room and you coming up with your ideas. When I say who do you get involved? For you guys, it doesn't matter. When we're talking about in an agency sense, you've got the designer, you've got possibly a developer, you've got the project manager who works on the project, and then usually you've got the person that was involved in the sales, so they know the client a lot better. So 4, if I'm sort of talking in for this purpose, 4 is the magic number. It's kind of, you want 4 people to be in a room so that you can bounce ideas off each other and you can start thinking about things. It's kind of easy to sort of just think about it in 4. Principle number 2, know the brief. As I said, I wasn't the sharpest tool, so I have to read the brief about 10 times before I actually get it. But read the brief, make sure you know what they want, whatever it is, whether it's a website, whether it's a brochure, whether it's a brand. Make sure you understand what the person who's giving you the brief wants. What you don't want to do is go through all of this process, present something and go, oh, I wanted a book, not a leaflet, for example. Make sure you understand that. So briefs can vary. They can be a 90-page document, which makes me sweat at night, but or a 1-page document. That's fine. But what we tend to do is extract all of that content and create a positioning statement for that brief. And what this does, it enables you to just re-look at this. When you're coming up with ideas, just refer back to this and understand what they want. So this was for the RNLI. You might have seen it in the video. How might we make the RNLI Respect the Water campaign more relevant and engaging to a digital savvy audience? One element missed off of that was that the campaign, which was Respect the Water, was predominantly for guys. It was that sort of 16 to 25-year-old bracket, persona, if you like. So what did we do? We had to refer back to that. So we created that sort of model that you could look around. So digital savvy, it was something you could do on your phone, you could do it on your website, but it was something that was almost gamifying it. So it made it sort of exciting and a bit more digital, if you like. Not just playing a video, it was something that was really engaging. So when we were coming up with the ideas, we kept referring back to this. And this is always a good idea to do, because it saves you reading the document again and again and again, or the brief. It's number 3. Get inspired, or what I like to call it, steal. When you get the brief, you're all in a room, spend an hour or 2 just having a look around. Have a look around, see what's going on. I didn't mention in the previous slide, make sure you understand what the client or whoever it is has done before. so that when you're doing this, you're not going to re-give them something that they've already done. And it might not have worked, it might have worked, it doesn't matter, you're not coming up with a new idea. So get inspired, have a look around, see whatever sector it is. So I was talking about like charity, and we might be working in the financial sector. It doesn't matter, just look everywhere. Whatever the brief is, look at inspirational stuff. There's a brilliant resource, and it's something I use quite a lot, called Google. And that actually is a brilliant place to start. Just type it in there, look at brochures, come up with some brochures. There's two others which I use quite a lot called Dribble, which is D-R-I-B-B, which messed up my spelling, L-E, so Dribble, and Behance. So they're two other ones which are quite a creative place. They're what people put up as their portfolios and work that they're doing now without it actually going live. They're brilliant places to look and get inspired. The other place, when I say steal, we stole from nature. So we were working with Woodland Trust, and we wanted to kind of bring the homepage to life and make it sort of more engaging. So we stole from nature. We just actually stole what was going on. So we took the brand and then we actually grew the copy and made it like flourish or spring to life, like a tree would or a plant. So we took inspiration from nature and just used that. And so you can use anything. It doesn't matter. It might be something that someone comes in the room and they just go, oh yeah, what about water or whatever? And then you go, okay, how does water work? So that kind of gives you an idea of where that inspiration comes from. It's number 4. Spider diagrams. So you're in the room, you've got a whiteboard like that, start getting things up, start putting down some ideas. A spider diagram, there's a few terms for it, but this one is how I'm sort of seeing it. You start off with your middle statement, and then from that you can spiral off. It's important to say that no idea, whatever it sounds like or however daft it is a bad idea. Never knock anyone down. Never say to anyone, that's a stupid idea, because it might. For example here, you can't see the lines, look at that. Someone might have come up with an idea here that would be deemed as being silly, but actually that sparks you off onto another direction of being a really good idea, which would lead you into these 3 core ideas that you've come up with from the initial statement. Just keep the ideas going, jot them down, and make sure that you document them. These can be words, they could be little doodles, they could be post-it notes with something on, they can be anything you like, so long as it gets across the idea and where you're going with this and how you get to different parts of the story. Take care. Or gin. But yeah, I love these because they just enable you to spin off and start thinking about things in a different way. But it is important to say no idea is a bad idea. Principle number 5. Have a break. Really important. You're in this room for a day, you're coming up with ideas, you sort of think, you're starting to hit your head against the wall, you're going, I can't think of any more ideas, I'm stuck. Get outside, have a break, get some fresh air. If you're in a room like this, oxygen actually goes. It can sort of be taken away by you guys breathing. It's so selfish. Go outside, get fresh air. One of my friends takes the dog for a walk, and he always seems to come up with ideas when he takes the dog for a walk. I don't know, must be really Googling. But get outside. Make sure you have a bit of food or whatever. It might be a lunch break, but get outside, have a break. There's a theory that I can share with you about ideas and creative thinking. So, if I was to give you, just run with me on this, if I was to give you a paperclip and you were in a bus, and I said to you, do as many things as you can with that paperclip, right? You go, right, I'll open it up and I can hold my ticket, I can put it there and it can be a phone thing, I can put my phone on it. You come up with, say, 20 ideas, let's say. in that scenario. If then I told you, okay, take that paperclip away, go to the beach, what else can you do with that paperclip? What else can you do? You come up with another 20 ideas. You wouldn't come up with those ideas if you hadn't taken that paperclip out and put it in a different situation. So with all of this, I hate to say think outside the box, that is such an awful saying, but think about the situation in a different environment or a different place, because that will spiral off in the last one with the spider diagram. It will make you actually go from this idea over to here, because you're thinking about it in a different way. Another thing about having, I have two places that I come up with probably my best ideas. One of them is when I'm waking up in the morning. I'm going to say scientifically, it's sort of proven that your brain is sparking the most when you're waking up, when you're just getting up. Take a note of it. You might think of an idea, write it down, because I guarantee you'll forget about it. So just write it down, put it on your phone in notes, or just write it down or something like that. My second place that I have my best ideas is the toilet. Principle number 6, mood boards. So you spent a whole day, those first 5 principles, you spent a whole day, come up with ideas. This is the stage where you put together something that isn't the finished product to present back. This was a mood board we did for University of Southampton. It was all about alumni and how we engage with them. The whole premise of it was to track me back. So think about the music that takes you back to a certain situation. And what that did was it made people go, oh, what was my song? And then the memory that reminded them of the song. So you could think about it, what was the song that you did on your birthday? And you go, yeah, that was a great song. So we told that story, put some album covers, we went over to Spotify and iTunes, because that's somewhere where we could put the actual music for people to listen to. We went down here to look at like MTV Classics, so it was going back to old school stuff. We've got a GIF. I love putting GIFs in because it sort of just tells a little bit of a story. GIFs are awesome. But it's that song that gets you on the dance floor. It's that kind of feeling. Oh yeah, I want to share that with my other alumni. But with a mood board, I always go sort of that sort of shape, and it's telling a story. Tell a story. Biggest bit of advice: tell a story. People love stories. If you can start beginning, middle, and end, that's the way to do it. People will engage with you. So to sum up, who's involved? You've got your 4 core people. Could be less, but 4 is a good number. Know the brief, read it, get a statement, know what you're doing, ask questions. Clients don't mind if you ask a question. If you're not sure, don't just run with it. Ask them, get them to make sure that you know what you're doing. Get inspired, still. Spider diagram, get it down onto a whiteboard, get it down. It could be a big bit of paper, it could be a whiteboard, whatever it is, just jot it down and go off. Just go off on a tangent, go wherever you want. Have a break, have a Kit Kat. Mood boards, that's the end thing. You can spend like however much time you want to do, but this up to 5 is the day, and then mood boards is the end product, if you like, before you go into the real development of it. So that's kind of the sum up. Thanks.